Hello, viewers. This is Urias. Welcome to Primus series. Primus series is a series of videos displaying and explaining advanced class imbalances, graphical flaws, and other flaws in the massively multiplayer online game called Star Wars: The Old Republic. In my previous video, I demonstrated the imbalanced capabilities of Jedi Sage healers by defeating a level 45 boss called Borgulub the Gluttonous, as well as Borgulub the Gluttonous as level 46 elite helper, Borgulub's minion, on the planet Vos, with no companion, no help, no medkits, no stims, and no adrenals. At the end of the video, I stated that there would be further information on advanced class imbalance and Sage healers in a more detailed video. This is that video. In this video, I reveal the causes of the Jedi Sage healing specialization being overpowered and unfair. The primary cause of the Jedi Sage healing specialization being overpowered and unfair is their skill trees. It is not their armor certification. As you can see, Jedi Sages are required to wear light armor. They receive no further armor certification, such as the Trooper's heavy armor certification, or the Jedi Knight's medium armor certification. This makes their natural protection very low, as compared to other classes. Many suggest that the Jedi Sage's Force Armor ability is their most overpowered and unfair ability. It completely absorbs 100% of all incoming damage, up to a certain number of hit points, excluding some types of dots. Think of it as a balloon, and damage as air. When it receives too much damage, it pops. Its absorption counts as healing points. And because it is a heal, it is affected by everything that affects bonus healing. There are also a number of boxes in the Jedi Sage's skill trees that dramatically and unfairly increase Force Armor's effectiveness. This use of this ability is somewhat justified for a Jedi Sage specializing in damage, where it is much more defenseless than a healer. However, there is no justification for an ability that grants invulnerability, temporary or otherwise, to 100% of incoming damage, if the user can just as well heal through it. The use of this ability as a Jedi Sage healer is entirely overpowered and unfair. However, it is somewhat limited. When it is used, an effect is applied to the target. While this effect is present, the target cannot be affected by Force Armor for the duration of the effect. This effect is applied to all targets of Force Armor, not only players. The duration of this effect is shorter than the duration of Force Armor. If an opponent attempts to wait it out, the Jedi Sage can simply reapply Force Armor before the end of its duration. The only way to get through it is to break through it. Here is another one of the most overpowered and unfair Jedi Sage components. This is concentration. Concentration enhances the ability, Disturbance, granting it a 50 and 100% chance to grant concentration upon each successful hit. Concentration stacks up to 3 times. Each stack of concentration increases the Jedi Sage's force regeneration rate by 10%. There is no limit to the reapplication of this effect. Theoretically, if a Jedi Sage is diligent about using Disturbance, then said Jedi Sage can go an entire fight, recovering 30% more force than normal. No non-force using healing class has this sort of ability. It is entirely overpowered and unfair. This, combined with Noble Sacrifice, allows a Jedi Sage to have infinite force. Noble Sacrifice will be discussed further later. These are more components of the Jedi Sage class that increases their effectiveness unfairly. This modifies Force Armor, increasing the damage it absorbs by 20%. This modifies a Jedi Sage's Force Pool, further increasing it by 100 points. A Jedi Consular starts out with 100 Force. As it becomes a Sage, it is given this effect, which naturally increases its Force by 400 points. In total, it is possible for a Jedi Sage to have 600 Force points. This is outrageously higher than any resource pool that any other class has, except for Jedi Sage's Sith equivalent, Sith Sorcerer. This is Resplendence. It modifies Healing Trance. With Resplendence, Healing Trance critical hits have a 50 and 100% chance to grant Resplendence. Resplendence is an effect that causes the next noble sacrifice to be activated without spending any health, and without diminishing the regeneration rate of the user's force pool. This is noble sacrifice. Normally, it places a debuff on the user that causes force regeneration rate to drop by 25% per stack, and stacks up to 4 times. Normally, using Noble Sacrifice consumes 15% of your maximum natural health, in exchange for 8% of your total maximum force points to be restored instantly. With the effect, Resplendence, it is possible for a Jedi Sage healer to never run out of force. No non-force using healing class has any ability like Resplendence. It is entirely, and incredibly, overpowered, and very unfair. This is a demonstration of Resplendence, preceded by Rejuvenate and Healing Trance. Rejuvenate's Conveyance effect increases Healing Trance's critical hit chance by 25%, almost guaranteeing the Healing Trance to grant Resplendence. I currently have 4 stacks of Noble Sacrifices debuff, so I will not regenerate force without the use of Noble Sacrifice at this time. Observe the effects of Resplendence on Noble Sacrifice. As you can see, force points were restored without the consumption of any health and without any debuff. Resplendence and Noble Sacrifice lack any sort of cooldown or limit of use. Resplendence can be applied over and over again, and Noble Sacrifice can be used over and over again. Because of this, there is no limit to a Jedi Sage healer's resource. This is Rejuvenate. Rejuvenate has 2 boxes that branch off of it. One of these is Force Shelter, which grants Rejuvenate a 100% chance to apply the Force Shelter effect to any target affected by Rejuvenate. Force Shelter increases the target's armor rating by 10% for the duration of Rejuvenate. This is a demonstration of Force Shelter's impact. It is somewhat significant, but not as significant as the other box that branches off of Rejuvenate. The other box that branches off of Rejuvenate is Conveyance. Conveyance is an incredibly overpowered and unfair box. It dramatically increases the effect of nearly all healing abilities available to the Jedi Sage healer that uses it. It decreases the force cost of Benevolence by 50%. Benevolence does just over half the healing of Deliverance, with just barely less cost. For every 2 uses of Benevolence, almost twice the force cost of Deliverance is consumed for barely any more healing in less time. With the force cost of Benevolence cut in half, a Jedi Sage healer can heal more damage over time than their big single heal. with their second most costly heal, without severely denting their force pool. This is a demonstration of benevolence, first without the benefits of conveyance, then with it. As you can see, the force cost of the first two benevolences used in each demonstration were dramatically different. Conveyance also decreases the activation time of Deliverance by 1 second. Deliverance is the Jedi Sage's biggest heal. Normally, it takes 3 seconds to activate. With alacrity, around 0.4 to 0.8 or so seconds can't be shaved off of that time. In this demonstration, only 0.3 seconds are shaved off due to alacrity. Immutable force also reduces the activation time of Deliverance by 0.5 seconds. Combined with conveyance, Deliverance can activate almost as fast as benevolence, with a difference of less than 0.3 seconds. This is a demonstration of Deliverance, with and without conveyance. As you can see, the difference in activation time makes a very significant difference in the Jedi Sage healer's efficiency. This is a mere handful of the components of the Jedi Sage healing specialization that cause it to be very overpowered. If left unchecked and untended, this could cause a mass migration of players into the Jedi Sage profession. Let me make it very clear. There is no class that can't tank more and no class that can heal more than a Jedi Sage healer and possibly its designed equivalent, Sith Sorcerer healer. Jedi Sages also have proficient DPS, or damage per second, capability. There is currently no need for any other class in-game. Jedi Sage fits all. This is an abomination, and a blight on all MMO history. End of Primus Series Video 1, Urias, out.